The first part of the Book of Enoch describes the fall of the Watchers, the angels who fathered the angel-human hybrids called Nephilim. The remainder of the book describes Enoch's revelations and his visits to heaven in the form of travels, visions, and dreams. Enoch was at first accepted in the Christian church but later excluded from the biblical canon. Its survival is due to the fascination of marginal and heretical Christian groups such as the Manichaeans, with its syncretic blending of Iranian, Greek, Chaldean, and Egyptian elements. It is said that Enoch has three versions. The first book of Enoch, the Ethiopic Book of Enoch, or 1 Enoch, is more known as simply the Book of Enoch. So what does the Book of Enoch contain that it was so controversial that it had to be removed? The eventual exclusion was not because they were regarded as heretical, but because they either lacked apostolic authorship or were thought to be too shallow in spiritual content. The Book of Enoch is apocalyptic in theme and discusses Enoch's experiences with fallen angels, divine secrets, and the fate of the human soul after death. Its various religious messages reflect the mindset of society over several centuries, leading to doubts about its authenticity and authorship. The Book of Enoch contained 108 chapters total, divided into 5 sections. Section 1, the Book of the Watchers, opens with the words of the blessing of Enoch, with which he blessed the elect and righteous who will be living in the day of tribulation, when all the wicked and godless are to be removed. Enoch declares that his eyes were opened by God, seeing him in a vision which the angels showed Enoch. From them he understood what he saw, for a remote generation which is to come. These visions begin with Revelation 21 verse 11. Enoch is told to observe how everything is ordered: luminaries, seasons, night, day, rain, dew, foliage, and bodies of water. These things do not change from God's commandments, but people have. It is here he begins to go into detail about the evils that abounded in Genesis 6. 200 fallen angels lusted after the comely daughters of men and swore an oath to bind themselves by mutual imprecations not to abandon the plan of choosing wives and begetting children. This they did, and taught them charms and enchantments, the cutting of roots, making them acquainted with plants. Women bore giants, 3,000 ells. The giants then consumed all the acquisitions of men, and when the men couldn't sustain them anymore, the giants devoured mankind. They sinned against birds, beasts, reptiles, fish, each other's flesh, and drank the blood. Different fallen angels taught them about the metals of the earth and the art of working them to make swords, knives, shields, bracelets, antimony, beautifying eyelids, costly stones, and coloring tinctures, as well as astrology, signs of the sun, earth, clouds, and moon. There was much godlessness, fornication, and shed blood. They revealed eternal secrets which were preserved in heaven, which men were striving to learn. God sent Uriel to Lamech to say, "Go to Noah and tell him in my name, hide yourself. Tell Noah about the coming flood and how to escape it." God said to Raphael, "Bind Azazel hand and foot and cast him into the darkness." Then Enoch is hidden so no one knew what had become of him. He's told by the watchers, angels, to go and tell the defiled watchers that they shall see the destruction of all their evil. When Enoch told them, they were afraid. They asked Enoch to draw up a petition for them so that they might find forgiveness. He did, and God told Enoch, in a vision, that they would not be granted. Judgment had finally passed upon them. Tell the watchers that they should intercede for men and not men for them. It repetitively asks them why they did all the aforementioned wickedness. Enoch is taken to a place where those who were like a flaming fire could appear as men. He saw the end of all things, such as the treasuries of the stars and winds, the cornerstone of the earth, 4 winds which bear the earth, and the firmament of the heaven. Next, Enoch is given the names of the holy angels who watch and their respective jobs. He is shown a chaotic and horrible place, no heaven or earth, just somewhere where 7 holy angels were bound together and burning until 10,000 years were finished for transgressing a commandment of the Lord. He's then taken to the middle of the earth and sees mountains, streams, trees, and deep ravines. They were in extremes to one another by height. He visits 3 more places, each one more beautiful than the last. He sees the tree of knowledge of good and evil, describing its beauty, in height like that of the fir, leaves like the carob tree, fruit like the clusters of the vine, and the fragrance penetrates afar. Enoch is taken to 4 more places, the ends of the earth in the east, which contains great beasts, the north and west where 3 portals of heaven blow various winds, 1 good and 2 violent, and the south where 3 portals pass the stars of heaven. The book of parables of Enoch recounts 3 parables that were imparted to Enoch. Begins at Revelation. He words it as, "And it will come to pass in those days that elect and holy children will descend from the high heaven, and their seed will become one with the children of men. Then a whirlwind carries him off from the earth and sets him down at the end of the heavens, which is the dwelling places of the holy and the resting places of the righteous." He sees Jesus in his dwelling place under the wings of the Lord of Spirits. Enoch wanted to stay there. He sees what is written in Revelation 4, and those that sleep not say what is written in Isaiah. Next, he sees the 4 beasts of Revelation, which he calls presences, and he learns their names and functions. Michael blesses the Lord of Spirits forever and ever. Raphael blesses the elect one, Jesus, and those elect ones who hang upon the Lord of Spirits. Gabriel prays and intercedes for those who dwell on the earth and supplicate in the name of the Lord of Spirits. Phanuel fends off the devils and forbids them to come before the Lord of Spirits to accuse them who dwell on the earth. Then Enoch saw all the secrets of the heavens, how the kingdom is divided, and how the actions of men are weighed in the balance. He saw the mansions of the elect and the mansions of the holy, and all the sinners being driven from there, who deny the name of the Lord of Spirits, and being dragged off. He also observed the secrets of lightning, thunder, winds, clouds, and dew. Enoch envisions Revelation, and there I saw one who had a head of days, and his head was white like wool, and with him was another being whose countenance had the appearance of a man, and his face was full of graciousness, like one of the holy angels. And I asked the angel who went with me and showed me all the hidden things, concerning that Son of Man, who he was, and from where he was, why he went with the head of days. And he answered and said unto me, This is the Son of Man who has righteousness, with whom dwells righteousness, and who reveals all the treasures of that which is hidden, because the Lord of Spirits has chosen him, and whose lot has the preeminence before the Lord of Spirits in uprightness forever. And this Son of Man whom you have seen will raise up the kings and the mighty from their seats, and will loosen the reins of the strong and break the teeth of the sinners. Because they do not extol and praise him, nor humbly acknowledge from where the kingdom was bestowed upon them. Afterwards, Enoch sees Jesus on his throne, and the books are opened, Revelation. Followed by Revelation, a fountain of righteousness which was inexhaustible. Around it were many fountains of wisdom, which the thirsty drank from, and were filled with wisdom. Those who have denied the Lord of Spirits will be as straw in the fire and as lead in the water. They will burn and sink respectively, before the face of the holy, and no trace of them will any more be found. He is then taken by a whirlwind to see mountains, each of lead, silver, copper, gold, iron, and soft metal. While the men of the earth take gifts of homage to Christ, the angels of punishment are preparing all the instruments of Satan for the final battle at Armageddon. Enoch looks to another part of the earth to see a deep valley with burning fire. Iron chains of immeasurable weight are forged there, to bind the hosts of Azazel, so that Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Phanuel will take hold of them and cast them into the abyss of complete condemnation, and cover their jaws with rough stones, as the Lord commanded, to take vengeance on them for becoming subject to Satan and leading astray those who dwell on the earth. The narrative then jumps back to the flood in destroying the unrighteous and repeating what we read in Genesis. As per Enoch in Revelation, the 14th day of the 7th month of the year 500, and what he sees makes him tremble with fear and fall upon his face, because he cannot endure the look of the host of 1,000 thousands and 10,000 times 10,000, which were disquieted from the commotion and the quaking of the heaven. This was due to the Lord's anger. Until that day, he had been merciful and long-suffering with those on the earth. Lamech speaks because it says, Where my grandfather was taken up, the 7th from Adam. And on that day were 2 monsters parted, a female named Leviathan and a male named Behemoth. She was cast into the abysses of the sea, and him unto the dry land of the wilderness on the east of the garden where the elect and righteous dwell. Lamech is also shown the secrets of the winds, the seas rolling forwards and back, and the courses of winter and summer. Michael tells Lamech that the two monsters, prepared conformably to the greatness of God, will feed. Next, he witnesses angels with long cords going off to measure the righteous, which will be given to faith and which will strengthen righteousness. These measures will reveal all the secrets of the depths of the earth, those destroyed by desert, devoured by beasts, such as in the Colosseum, and fish of the sea, that they might return and stay themselves on the day of Jesus' return, for none will be destroyed before the Lord of spirits, and none can be destroyed. There's a long diatribe of how vengeance and punishment will be delivered on to those who oppressed God's children and his elect. We shall never again see the faces of the sinners and unrighteous. The righteous shall abide with Jesus. We will eat and lie down and rise up forever and ever, clothed with garments of glory, the garments of life, from God, which shall not grow old, neither will our glory pass away before him. Again, the narrative jumps to Noah, who cried out to Enoch, essentially saying, "What's going on? Am I going to die too?" Enoch stood beside him, saying, "Because of their unrighteousness, their judgment has been determined, but you, my son, the Lord of spirits, knows that you are pure and guiltless of this reproach concerning the secrets, and he will preserve you and destined your righteous seed for kingship and great honors, and from your seed will proceed a fountain of the righteous and holy without number forever." Then Noah is shown the angels that hold the waters in check until the time. The narrative picks up with Genesis. Enoch gives Noah the book of the parables. I'm not sure who's speaking, but they're given a list of the fallen angels and their personal evils. Jechan led the sons of God astray through the daughters of men. Aspiel gave evil counsel to defile their bodies with the daughters of men. Castaja showed how to kill the embryo in the womb, the smiting of the soul, and many others. This next portion appears to be written between Enoch and Methuselah or Lamech, since Enoch was translated 31 years prior to Noah's birth. Enoch's ascension, and he was raised aloft on the chariots of the Spirit, and his name vanished among them. And from that day I was no longer numbered among them, and he set me between the two winds, north and west, where the angels took the cords to measure for me the place for the elect and righteous. And it came to pass after this that my spirit was translated, and it ascended into the heavens, and I saw the holy sons of God. He's shown more details of heaven. The astronomical book shows the intricate workings of the universe for 11 chapters. Although recounted by Enoch, it is Methuselah who writes. The book of dream visions is again to Methuselah, but Enoch speaks. He had two visions, first while he was learning to write and the second before marrying Edna, so it would be within a 52-year time gap. The first was of the flood swallowing up the earth. Enoch implores God to leave him a posterity on earth and not destroy all the flesh of man, so that there should be an eternal. The epistle of Enoch is where he gathers all his brothers and relatives and that they should not be let not your spirit be troubled on account of it. And the believing shall be exalted. Then it speaks of Noah's birth. His body was white as snow and red as the blooming of a rose, and the hair was long locks of white like wool, and his eyes beautiful. And when he opened his eyes, he lighted up the whole house like the sun, and the whole house was very bright. He rose up in the midwife's hands and conversed with the Lord of righteousness. Lamech was afraid of him and fled to Methuselah, telling him all about it, worried that his nature was different, his eyes as the rays of the sun, and his countenance is glorious. Would you implore Enoch to learn the truth? So Enoch told Methuselah that he had already foreseen this, and that because of all the sins the earth would be cleansed from all impurity. He and his 3 sons would be saved from the great deluge. And after that there will be still more unrighteousness than that which was first consummated on the earth. Methuselah returns and tells Lamech, yes, he is your son, and all the other things, so Lamech called him Noah, for he will comfort the earth after all the destruction. The last chapter is too beautiful for believers to not know, but horrifying for the unbelievers, so I write it verbatim here. Another book which Enoch wrote for his son Methuselah and for those who will come after him and keep the law in the last days. You who have done good will wait for those days until an end is made of those who work evil, and an end of the might of the transgressors. And wait you indeed until sin has passed away, for their names will be blotted out of the book of life and out of the holy books, and their seed will be destroyed forever, and their spirits will be slain, and they will cry and make lamentation in a place that is a chaotic wilderness, and in the fire will they burn, for there is no earth there. Who wrote the Book of Enoch? The true authorship of the Book of Enoch is unknown, but it is believed to be the work of a number of different authors over hundreds of years, with each portion having been added separately. Traditionally, however, it is attributed to Enoch, the great-grandfather of the biblical Noah. The Book of Enoch's popularity doesn't mean God inspired it, however. The Book of Enoch preaches immoral behavior of angels, humans, and even God himself, making it unethical to keep it in the Bible. With that being said, reading the Book of Enoch is not considered a sin, but many discourage believers from doing so unless in a scholarly context. If you like my videos, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.